All right.
Welcome to another episode of Chat GRC, where us, the Blue-Lusional podcast, myself, Devin, and Casey, interview a new grassroots candidate weekly. And, sir, would you like to introduce yourself and what you are running for?
Yeah, hello, friends. Great to see you. My name is William Marks, calling in from the great state of Texas. I'm a congressional candidate running for Texas Congressional District 25. That includes parts of Fort Worth, and then south and west of Fort Worth.
Very nice. Very
Amazing.
nice.
That was a
Yes.
great
Well,
introduction.
right?
That might be
Yeah,
one
that
of the
was the
best
smoothest one yet.
introductions we've had yet. That
Right to
was
the
like,
point. Yeah.
boom.
Yeah. William was introduced to us by our good friend Caress, who's also down in Texas.
Our queen.
We're trying to flip this thing blue. So
Yes,
yeah,
we are.
let's get into how we are going to flip your district blue.
Yes. So we know your name, we know what you're running for, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and specifically why you're running in this cycle?
Yeah, where the heck did he come from? So I have a 22-year military career. I was a 22-year Navy veteran, a combat veteran. After that, I had a super neat job working at Facebook, now known as Meta, giving away their money to charities and nonprofits. Like, amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here I am running for Congress. So, a little bit about my military background. I went to the U.S. Naval Academy, graduated from the Naval Academy in 1996. I deployed on a guided missile cruiser. I was stationed on a destroyer, an aircraft carrier, did a deployment on the USS Abraham Lincoln, and then a command ship where I was stationed in Japan for 2 years, the USS Blue Ridge. So some highlights from that. I'm really proud of this. But about 10 years ago, we started really putting pressure on China. We noticed they were expanding their area of influence, their operations further and further east toward Hawaii. And we started really putting pressure on them. So I worked at the highest levels of with the Chinese government, the Chinese military, and we put a lot of pressure to contain them as far away from Hawaii as we could.
Mm.
What we are doing now with China, we started 10 years ago. I'm really proud of that work we did because that built the foundation of our relationship with the Chinese military that we see today. But yeah, worked with the Japanese ambassador to the U.S., the U.S. ambassador to Japan, Carolyn Kennedy, ambassador to Singapore. So very, very high level type military operations. From there, I went to the Pentagon and I was the chief of media for the entire U.S. Navy's Office of Information.
Wow.
That's run out of the Pentagon, and I was the chief of media there. I rolled out a $160 billion budget. So I led that communications rollout. So believe me, I can budget from $1,000 giving, a donation to a charity to $160 billion. And I needed to know every single line, every aircraft, every ship, every MRE, every line of that $160 billion budget. From there, really neat, I had the opportunity to work in intelligence. So I was the senior military spokesperson for all Department of Defense intelligence. That including briefing the vice president of the U.S., not the one we like, the other one, but briefing the vice president of the U.S. on North Korean intelligence, and then briefing the United Nations Security Council ambassadors for about 6 months straight on Iranian malicious activity.
Wow.
From there, I did also see firsthand Russian election interference. That's more a topic from 2016, but believe me, I saw it real time. You'd have your top secret computer right here, and then I had an unclassified computer next to it, and you have to keep all those things in front of you and balance all those.
Wow.
So it wasn't a hoax.
Yeah, right. How about that? I have so many stories. I'll tell you a super quick story, and then I'll continue on. But look at the state of Tennessee, right, back in 2016. If you went to their official Twitter account for the Republican Party, official account, It had like 80,000 people. So we're not talking like nobody here. The official Twitter account, we found out it was being run by Russians. It was completely hacked and being run by Russians. We didn't figure it out until I had 80,000 people. And I could see in real time. So what they would do is they would fight, so their headquarters was in St. Petersburg, big building, thousands of people, all day, they would just be on social media. Here's what they would do. They would fight with each other to make us think we hated each other. So one of them in St. Petersburg, Russia, would be like, Hillary Clinton's terrible. We hate Hillary. The same guy would then say, oh, Trump's a loser. Trump's a criminal. And the same guy would fight with themselves, stirring up this hatred.
Manufactured.
Yeah. And back in 2015, 2016, this was still kind of new to all of us, right? Facebook was around, but Facebook wasn't political. Yeah. It wasn't a political forum. So this was all new. People didn't know. These were just Russians and bots fighting with each other, getting us mad. And it turned us on each other. It really did. It turned Americans on each other from St. Petersburg, Russia. So absolutely, it was not a hoax. It really happened. So from there, I was like, okay, that's a cool way to kind of cap my career. I said, I want to try something else while I'm still somewhat young. So I said, how can I still serve my community, right? Because once you have this kind of life of service, it's kind of ingrained in you. And so I got a job with Facebook, and I'm like, listen, I don't want to like sell Facebook ads. That's not me. They're like, oh, no, you don't have to do that. We want you to give away money. So I've given away $10 million to thousands of nonprofits, schools, small businesses, chambers of commerce, from big ones, the United Way, Boys and Girls Club, down to a small mom and pop stuffing backpacks with school supplies. And they may have gotten $1,000 donation. $10 million plus over the course of about 6 years. Super proud of that. And then I said, it was about to be this last election. And I said, you know something, William? Maybe it's time to take a break. You deserve it. You've worked hard for 30 years. And you know something? The country's going to be okay because Kamala Harris has got it.
Yeah.
She, we're gonna, right? And I truly believe that in my heart. And I truly believe we're going to be on the right track because Biden got us a great start and Kamala was going to make it even better. And I said, okay, I'm going to retire and maybe I can relax and spend time with the kids and, be a substitute teacher and on the PTA. And lo and behold, here we are now. And those plans to relax got upended. And what did I see? I saw the Trump administration start banning books at the U.S. Naval Academy. Mm-hmm. And oh man, did that spin me up, because of all places, these are college age adults, the next generation of leaders, the next generation leading the military of this country, and you're going to ban books? They're adults. And not only banning books, but you're going to leave Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf, but ban Maya Angelou? What Twilight Zone is this? Now, I'm not saying we should remove Hitler, because guess what? You need to do research. You have to write essays and papers. You need to know the bad times of this country as well as the good times, our failures as well as our successes. These students need all the information. So the Trump administration started banning books. And I said, I'm not having that. So I put together a coalition of 1,200 people from across the country. And I said, you can ban the book from the library, but you can't stop me from buying a copy of every single book. And I'm going to fly to Annapolis, Maryland, and I'm going to hand out those books, and you try to stop me. So I did just that. I flew out to Annapolis, Maryland, handed out the books. And the last day I was there, we read the news, and they crumbled. The Trump administration overturned this terrible policy. And come on, we all know the Trump administration, they never back down from anything. What they usually do is double down and make it twice as bad. But they caved in.
Taco.
He caved in. And I said, we've got something here. We've got something when you give people something to believe in, and then you put everything you have behind it. And if you've got to fly across the country, you fly across the country. And if you've got to be on the ground, handing out books on the sidewalk, that's what you do.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I said, we've got something. And I flew back to Texas and saw my own district with an incumbent named Roger Williams, who has not had an opponent in 2 cycles. People don't even have a choice. And I looked around and I said, that's not what I fought for. I didn't fight. He's one of the richest members of Congress.
Of course.
No one's holding him accountable to the people. He hasn't held a town hall in 4 years. He hasn't had a bill passed in 10 years.
So what's he doing?
He is not. He's voting with Trump. He's a 96% Trump voter. So I tell people, I said, who do you think your congressman is? Do you think it's Rod? No, it's Trump. Trump is your congressman. You have no voice. He hasn't written and passed a bill in 10 years. So I said, I cannot let this stand. We have momentum. We have energy. Let's do it. And I declared for Congress 8 weeks ago. We have had an amazing response. Thousands of people have shown support, and I'm energized, folks. We're going to do this. We're going to do it.
I love
I love that. So since we're already on you running for Congress, we go through this with everyone. Everyone has a different answer. So for people who don't know, what would a person in Congress in Texas have the power to do at the local level?
Oh, I love this. Yeah. So this is a great question because people need to understand who can do what, who has the authority to do what. And I always say to folks, like, how do you make a tangible difference when you don't have the votes, right? When you don't have the authority? What do? Right? So first I'll say this. Local politics are incredibly important. People listening, run for something. Please run for your local school board. Run for your city council. You can do it. You can have a full-time job and still run. It actually doesn't take much money. You can run for a school board with a few $1,000s in donations and a couple signs. Local is where it's at, right? Those are so important. So my advice to everyone out there, run for something local. It affects things like school board, education, right? Things you might even think about, like zoning, right? Whether to build a condo or a shopping mall or single family homes. Zoning is so hugely important at the local level. That's not the federal level. That's not the state. That's all local politics, right? I see people all the time. They get upset. They're like, "Oh man, why'd they build that shopping plaza? Or why is this a house here and not there?" That's local, right? Those are local politics.
You didn't vote.
Yeah, right. That's it, exactly. And then the hardest is like looking at schools, right? If you fight for what you believe in, right? Fight for your kids. Fight for your school tax dollars to go to the right thing. Mm-hmm. And, these are local elections winnable by anyone who puts a little effort into it. And so that's my first piece of advice. Politics starts local. It's incredibly important. Let's talk about state politics for just a second, right? In my mind, right? Greg Abbott in Texas, he's just getting in the way. He's not doing anything to help anyone. Right? So things that we try to do at the federal level, he's not codifying, he's not helping the people. So take, for example, he's trying to ban THC, right? Cannabis. That people don't support that. I'm a veteran. Do you know the number of veterans who have injuries? Severe injuries, back pain, migraines. that rely on low levels of THC. One, it works. Two, it's not that expensive, right? And you can get it kind of over the counter. You don't need a prescription in most, right? Most states, you just over the counter.
Yeah, recreational. Yeah.
Yeah, right. There are so many people, and not just veterans. There are people with chronic pain, right? That this helps so much. And so Abbott's just getting in the middle, messing up things like that. Anything he does, he makes things worse because at the local level, they had it, right? They had their own local law they were happy with. Leave them alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leave these cities alone. And at the federal level, just let the federal level do their job, and Abbott could just stay out of it. Another thing Abbott does at the state level, right? It used to be in Texas, your tax dollars went to your county, and they kind of stayed there, right? I live in Tarrant County, Texas. They stayed in Tarrant County. Well, guess what the state started doing under all Republicans? They started gradually taking a percentage of that local money, 5%, 10%, 20%. So now the state government is siphoning off that local money from cities and counties that need it the most. So Abbott's just getting in the way of state politics. We'll talk for sure. Let's talk about redistricting. I can't wait to talk about redistricting. Okay. Then let me end this by talking about what we do at the federal level. The federal level, Congress is important because we had a civil war. The fabric of this nation fought because Abraham Lincoln said there are some things so important that every single person in this country must fall under the same set of rules. These are rights. These are our civil rights, our due processes, things that have been enumerated in the Constitution and also in federal law. These are the foundations of this country, that all people are created equal, should have due process, should be treated equally. Their vote should count equally. That is why the federal government is so important, because we pass the laws that are the foundations of this country. Then real quick, second thing, don't forget, the power of the purse belongs to Congress. The president is not supposed to be able to take money from one thing to another or deny spending money that Congress approved. He's not supposed to do that. Now, Republicans have given up, they have freely given up that power given to them in the Constitution. When elected, and I go to Washington, D.C., you better believe I am not going to give up Congress's power of the purse. Trump is not supposed to be doing this. Any Republican, right? You only need a couple, 3 here, 2 there.
Mm-hmm.
Any Republican could stop this, but they're not. That's why Democrats have to win back, at a minimum, the House.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And that leads us perfectly into the next question, which is, how have your constituents been affected by this administration just 8 months in?
Yeah. So here they're so sneaky. Let me talk about this ugly bill, right? Here's why they're sneaky. It's not going to hurt people really badly until after the next election, after the 2026. Do you know how evil is that?
Yep.
How underhanded is it for you let people think their lives are going to be okay? And then as soon as the election's over in November of 2026, you're going to pull the rug right from under them. That's what Republicans did. So you think you have Medicare? You think you have Medicaid? You think your Social Security is safe? They're going to create that illusion now. So you're not going to lose it now. You're only going to lose it after the next election, right? Rural hospitals, do you know what it's going to do to rural hospitals? Because when Medicare and Medicaid, those funds, right, those keep rural hospitals open. We've already
closing.
Yes, that's going to happen in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the hard part, though, right? They're so evil, it's not going to affect them right now. So right now, people are like, I'm doing okay. And man, that's what's so hard about it. And that's what's hard running, right? Because
You have to be like, you're not okay.
yeah, right. I'm like, folks, you need to be fired up. Please get fired up. They're taking away your rights. But right now, they're still kind of like sitting and waiting. And I'm worried that worries me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It worries me.
Same.
Because Democrats cannot wait until next summer for these things to happen, right? We've got to start now. People need to get energized now. And I love the protests. It needs to be double that. It needs to be triple that. I love when people call their congressman. I love the phone calls and letters. It needs to be double and triple, because if we wait till next summer, it's too late.
Yep.
That's why I'm starting now. I'm telling folks right now, you got to watch out, because this ugly bill is evil, and it's coming for them next year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to shake them. You're like, come on.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
It's hard. It's like that poem, right? They came for, like,
Yep.
came for, right?
Mm-hmm.
The carbon. And
Yes.
I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
they came for that go over there. Guess what, folks?
Yep.
It's only a matter of time.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time.
You're up.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, speaking of evil, here we go. We're gonna get to the gerrymandering. So we see the Texas Dems. They're literally fleeing to get away from Republicans, to break quorum so that they're not able to literally make that entire map blood red. So how do you feel about these people, the Republicans, trying to gain these seats before the next census?
I know, right?
Which is not even supposed to be for another 5 years.
I know. Good.
And
for
do you
the-
agree? Oh, wait, and then second part of that, do you agree with the Texas Dems breaking quorum
Yeah,
to
good
stop
for
the
them.
gerrymandering?
So here's again what I tell folks, and the people who I do see fired up, I say, you only can do what you are authorized to do. You only can do, either you have the vote to do it or you're authorized to do it, right? So this let's take the ugly bill. If every single Democrat voted against it, we still could not stop it. And people have to realize, same thing with the Senate. All the Senate needs is 50 votes. So every single Democrat could vote no. There's nothing we could do. So I'm proud of those Democrats that broke quorum and left the state, because if they stayed, that is guaranteeing it would get passed.
Yep.
You cannot. So the only way to delay it is to not vote. If they voted, it's over. What can you do? They took the only avenue they had, and they were courageous. They lost a lot of money. They got a lot of fines. They've got a lot of threats, but good for them, right? Now, is it probably going to get passed eventually, right? Because Abbott can keep calling these. He can call them forever. Probably. It probably will. But that's not to say those Democrats haven't exhibited tremendous courage, right? So if I could, let me talk a little bit about redistricting. So what's so miserable about redistricting is the hypocrisy. Don't let any Republican tell you that Democrats do the same thing as Republicans. Do not let anyone tell you that both parties are the same. They are not the same. There are two authorities on redistricting, gerrymandering, Princeton University, who has a bunch of PhDs looking at it and super smart algorithms. The Brennan Center, which is a nonprofit, both of them clearly state that more Republican states gerrymander than Democratic states. It's something like 3-to-1-ish, maybe even 4-to-1, right? More Republican states gerrymander than Democrats, right? Second, none of the Democrats have done it mid-cycle, mid-census, right? You wait for the census. That's how it's supposed to be, right? We have a president making personal phone calls to dictate state policy. That's not right. That's not what America was built on. So no Democratic state has done it during the middle of a census. So that's two reasons, right? Republicans are worse at this, right? Democrats have not done this. I'm going to give you the third reason. Here's a big one. The most important reason. Democrats proposed a bill in Congress to ban gerrymandering. Guess how many Republicans voted to ban gerrymandering? I'm going to give you a hint. It's a big fat zero.
Of course.
No way.
No way.
They had to, yes, right. So Democrats proposed a bill to prevent this, and no Republicans would stand up against gerrymandering. So again, don't let anyone tell you
Dang, we
that
should have
both
had you on the
parties
last
are the same.
episode. Because MAGA
Right.
found our last episode and they're not happy about the gerrymandering
Oh, yeah, I'll
comments we
send it
made.
to them. Let's have a debate right here.
Democrats do it all the
Okay.
time.
If I could, let me add a quick extra addition for the Dallas-Fort Worth area, right? In all through Texas, it's going to backfire. It's going to backfire on Republicans. I'm going to tell you why. So in Dallas-Fort Worth, there are 3 very strong Democratic districts. I mean, like Jasmine Crockett, no one's going to beat her.
Mm-hmm.
So Democrat that they're super safe, right? Jasmine Crockett, Mark Vesey, Julie Johnson. Those 3 in Dallas are surrounded by, I want to say 5 or 6-ish solid red districts. Okay. And those districts, man, it's one's mine, right? District 25. Almost unwinnable, right? So what Republicans want to do is they want to take one of those 3 Democratic districts, right? They're not going to go for Jasmine Crockett's and Mark Vesey's. They left. So those 2 are still solid blue, not going to get beat, not going to flip. But what they did to Julie Johnson's was they took, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5% from all those surrounding districts, and they turned her blue district into a red district. She is now a Democrat that is in a Republican district, right? They're trying to flip that. Okay, here's what's going to happen. One, I don't think they're going to flip it, right? I don't think they can flip it. 2, what they have done to those surrounding districts is make them all more competitive because they took away a bunch of Republicans. So all these surrounding districts, 6, 12, 24, 25, right? They're winnable now. My district is now winnable.
So basically, I guess the way I'm seeing it in my head, they're pushing more Democrats into more heavily Republican areas.
Yeah, so basically, to flip a blue seat,
Mm-hmm.
they needed 20% to flip it, like 20, 30%.
Okay.
So if you need to have 20% more Republicans in one spot, they took away 5% here, 4% here, 3% up here, 5% up here. My district lost, it got 5% more blue. It got 5% more Democrat. My district's now more Democratic.
Turned blue.
Yeah, I can win this thing, right?
So they thought they did something, is what you're saying. They thought that they got a bunch of seats, but in reality, they might have just.
That's my hypothesis.
Evil but dumb.
What they're banking on things, people to a year and a half from now in November to be and just let the status quo.
Yeah. They're hoping you got that Democrats don't vote in the primaries.
Exactly. So
not on our watch.
Not on our watch. I will go knocking on doors. Did you vote today?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Get up.
Well, I mean, it makes the most sense that they thought of it very tunnel vision, which is I just see red, then nothing else matters. And then somebody like you goes, wait. This kind of
didn't think this through.
You didn't think this through all the way. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Okay, that makes more
The
sense.
more you learn.
Mm-hmm.
And
that only works if we get out and vote, folks.
Yes.
Because if we don't, then they were right.
Yeah, so let's prove them wrong. Democrats, get out there and vote.
Don't worry, we're going to pick up our phones and yell at people. Don't worry.
Don't you worry. But also, Texas the past, it's always been a hub for storm activity just because you're surrounded by water and you're also just smack in the middle. So you guys get extreme storms. You get hurricanes like Florida, but you get flash flooding, and we've seen some devastation from that just in this year. Tornadoes. They all just seem to happen in Texas, especially the past couple years. So I am sure that Texans are not happy with the cuts to the National Weather Service and the NOAA. And with you running for Congress, what are some things you could do if you win and when you win that could kind of help Texas? It's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, let's fix this, right? So the first thing I always try to do is I try to understand where people are coming from, especially the other side, right? So I always say, in every crazy conspiracy thing, right, there's a grain of truth, a nugget buried deep down there somewhere, right? And somehow it got corrupted, right? So what typically I think people want is people don't want the government messing with their lives, right? And I get that. I understand that. People don't want the government making things worse for them, right? We want when we pay our taxes, we want it to be easy. Why can't it be easy to pay your taxes? When I go to the DMV, why can't it be easy, right? When I have to go to the hospital, why doesn't my bill look like a normal bill? Why is it, I sprain my pinky finger and it's $30,000, but somehow it ends up being $68 when my insurance pays it, but if I pay it for it's $18,000, right? No one understands it. So for the most part, people want the government to not make their life worse, okay? Here's what I'm running for. I'm running to say I will only make the government better in the ways that protect us, but not in the ways that harass us. And I think that's a winning strategy, right?
That's effective messaging to me.
Yeah, right. Ways that protect us. The FAA, please, let's stop aircraft from crashing into each other. Let's hire more air traffic control. That is a great way that the government works for its people, right? NOAA, the National Weather Service, things like that. They're not bothering, and they're only making people safer, right? Let's pour resources into that so that the natural disasters aren't so bad. FEMA, right, is a world-class organization that is being defunded. FEMA has saved countless thousands of lives. Those things are what the federal government does best, right? It takes care of people in safety, in services. So my pledge is to bolster the things that make our lives better, safer, but I am not going to do things that make our lives worse and harass people, right? If it was my way, you do that. You would never have to go to the DMV. Come on, let's just do it online. Seriously, holy cow! Have you? Do you know a woman who got married and had to change their name? Oh, let me tell you the process my wife had to go through. Go to the Social Security office. Your voter thing has to change. Oh, your passport has to change. Driver's license has to change. It's $100 here. It's $80 here.
Yeah, and your passport.
Banking info.
Yeah, folks. People get pissed off at the government when the government makes their lives worse and harasses them, and we've got to stop that.
And then we give up. I'm married.
Yes.
I didn't change my name. You couldn't see me changing my name. I don't have time.
So on behalf of all the Democrats out there, right, this is something we can run on. We're going to make the government better and less intrusive, but protect us with services we need, right?
Why don't they just say this? Just say that.
Say it.
Hakeem Jeffries, if you're listening, just say that.
We fight amongst ourselves. Like, look. Remember I said this. Every crazy thing has this nugget of truth, right? Remember that. Does anyone want fraud, waste, and abuse in the government? I
No.
don't. I don't know a
No.
single Democrat that wants fraud, waste, or abuse, right? Why? But that somehow became a Republican talking point that only Republicans can fix the fraud, waste, and abuse. And let's call in, how crazy is this? Let's call in a billionaire who has zero experience with everything. Let him try to fix it.
Yeah.
The dumbest
Intern.
thing I've ever heard of. But the Democrats could have won that over by saying, I, Democrat William Marks, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, I am going to fight against fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm going to acknowledge it's there, and I'm going to hire qualified forensic accountants, like actual qualified people to fix this, and every $1 billion they saved, put it on the website. That's what Trump did. Just did it with an idiot. Why do Democrats do that?
Right? Like,
I don't know, man.
because now all
I don't
we've
know,
done
man.
is give MAGA talking points, which is like, you guys didn't do this, you guys let this happen. And it's like, what do we have to say? I guess they did, because to your point, they could have just said, yeah, there is waste in here. There's fraud. We could find some, but let's do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they were like,
Democrats could have called together a commission, an agency. Right? We could have done that, but we didn't.
Too easy. It would have been too easy.
Would have been too
Well, while we're
I have to
on
say, quick asterisk, I love Elizabeth Warren.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Right? She did exactly what I'm saying. She
Mhm.
right. She
Mhm.
created the Consumer
Yes. Yeah.
Protection Bureau, right, to stop financial predators, and she did a
Mhm.
great job. That was dismantled. So she was doing the right thing. I need to give her credit where credit's
Yeah,
due.
she just needs more people like
yeah.
you who would back her, and then you have something to work with.
There we go. Right. So, while we're on that topic of, getting stuff done, what would be your top 3 priorities when you win?
Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, I do have a communication background. And when I started this journey running for Congress, I said, I need people to know what I stand for. So on my website, I typed out like 50 things, typing away the whole platform on my website. And I went to speak to a group of people, and they were like, William, we think you're great. We think you're a great candidate. When we knock on doors for you, what do we say? And I started listing those 50 things, and they were like, whoa, what are you talking about? What is going on here? So I went back. This was only like 2 weeks into it. I went back and I said, okay, I need to get back to the basics and highlight a platform people can believe in, right? So here we go. 3 things. Better jobs. I want to improve people's jobs. I'll tell you how I'm going to do that in a second. Number 2, improve healthcare. We've got to get the healthcare system better. Number 3, I want to make everyday living affordable. Say it with me. 1, better jobs. 2, improve healthcare. 3, affordable living.
It's so simple.
So simple.
Right?
It's so freaking simple.
And here's the great thing. Every American and every Texan can believe in those things, right?
Mhm.
And I'm happy to, right? I'll expand a little bit. Better jobs. I want corporations to invest in their employees.
Yeah.
Why is that such like a terrible thing? Training, invest in their training, invest in their education, and maybe invest in some daycare if they need daycare. Invest in their health care to give them a decent health care plan. Invest, maybe you only work 20 hours. You can still have benefits. I want these multi-billion-dollar corporations to invest in their employees so that jobs become better jobs.
Yep.
Improve healthcare. I told you about the crazy healthcare bills. We need to get rid of that. But also, why is there a middleman billion-dollar corporation running my healthcare? United Healthcare, right, made $5 billion last year. All they are the middleman. This is ridiculous. And here, how about this, right? Think about this. United Healthcare's profit goes up when they deny your claims. Their profit goes up when the service gets worse. What are we doing?
Let's not forget they're using AI
Yeah.
to deny those claims. It's not even in front of a person.
Human being. You're right. So we take out the middleman in healthcare. We give power to doctors and nurses and healthcare practitioners between them and the patient, right? Yeah, I get it. There's a little oversight. I'm not saying it's like free for all, but you certainly do not need a $5 billion corporation making money off sick people.
Yep.
Nope.
I'm going to improve healthcare. By the way, the healthcare I'm improving is the healthcare Republicans are going to take away from you after the next election.
That's so mind-boggling.
So, yeah, at the same time, while I'm trying to make healthcare better, Republicans are literally taking it away.
You got to get it back.
Blows my mind, right? How can people vote for that? Then the last thing, I want to make everyday living affordable, right? It's those nags, right? The DMV's $200. Getting a passport's this. School tax, property taxes are ridiculous.
Yep.
The housing, right? There's no reason we can't help with housing. There's no reason we can't help with the down payment. There's no reason we can't help with a first-time home buyer and getting a break on their interest rates or their loans. And I took that from Kamala Harris. She came up with that idea. There's no reason lumber, right, and materials we can't remove some taxes on that. And how about this? No, don't tariff them, because that's only hurting the consumer. Right? These things all make everyday living more affordable. I'm going to take away those nags, right? You go to try to go to a concert and you think the ticket is $30, and when you check out, it's $64.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even, a family of four can't even go to a baseball game anymore. We can't go to the movies. I just want to pay what the website says. Why is that so hard? Last part about affordable living, right? I want people to understand the difference between a progressive tax and a regressive tax. Okay, progressive tax, right? If you make nothing, like if you make very little, you kind of pay less in taxes. Makes sense. But if you're a billionaire, right, you got hundreds of millions of dollars coming in, you might have to pay a little more, right? Progressive tax. Here's what I'm going to go after, though, right? I'm not going to mess too much with that. But when the fee is equal on a teacher and at the same time a billionaire, then the fee's not really equal, right? Okay, so we go to the DMV and it's $200. So you're a teacher. Say you make, let's for sake of argument, $1,000 a week, right? $52,000 a year, nice round number. If their car registration is $200 out of $1,000, you're telling me, so in a week, we're taking away 20% of their paycheck in 1 week. If you're a teacher or a nurse or a firefighter, that's a regressive tax, because $200 to the billionaire is nothing. It's like it's a rounding area. They don't even notice. So why is a teacher paying this same $200 tax as a billionaire, right? Same thing. Yep. And you can spread that everywhere. So that's an example of a regressive tax that hurts the working people more. It hurts the working class because even though the number might be the same, the percentage is way higher for the everyday working class people. I think we need to work on those. So those are my 3 big points.
Perfect. That seems pretty doable to me.
No notes.
Yes.
No notes.
But you've said this entire time, all of this is if people vote. And after this most recent election, a lot of people are feeling like voting doesn't even matter anymore. And we're watching suppression happen with gerrymandering. And it's just getting crazy, and people are getting to the point where they don't feel like voting anymore. So what would you say to people who are starting to kind of check out?
That, right. This is critical. I was 2 weeks ago, I was in Eastland, Texas. That is a tiny rural town about an hour west of Fort Worth. They might have, 6, 8, 10,000 people, small town. And a woman said to me, last election, she was voting for Kamala Harris. She went to her neighbor and she said, "Hey, let's go vote." And her neighbor said, "Why should I vote? My vote is not going to count. I have nothing to vote for. The Republicans have taken that away from me." And that broke my heart. It really broke my heart. And this is my message to all those people out there who are feeling dejected. I am giving you something to believe in. And I'm a bleed blue Democrat. And I would love for you to vote for me just because I'm a Democrat. That would be amazing. Please do that. But that's not all I am. I am not just a Democrat. I am a better candidate than Roger Williams. I have a better career track record than Roger Williams. I certainly have a better career of service to my country than Roger Williams, who inherited a car dealership, and that's all he's done. Remember, he hasn't passed a bill in 10 years. He hasn't held a town hall in 4 years. So please, everyone, vote for me because I'm a Democrat, and I would love that. But for all those, whether you're a moderate, whether you're a Democrat, I'm giving you something to believe in. You don't just have to vote for me out of a protest vote. You can vote for me because I have a strong record. I have a career of service, and I'm going to bring back values to the working class. I'm going to bring back ethics to Congress. I'm going to bring back hope of the American dream that the Republicans are taking away. So yeah, vote for me as a Democrat, vote for me as a protest vote against Trump. That's all amazing. Mm-hmm. But I am telling you, you can believe in me, and I'm giving you a reason that is not just a protest vote. It's an actual 22-year combat veteran, United Nations Security Council briefing, $160 billion career track record vote. And that's who I am.
That's perfect.
I'm sold. All right.
I'm sold.
Okay.
I don't live there, but I'm sold. I'm just saying, you guys, his opponent hasn't had a town hall in 4 years. We just talked to...
You don't know.
We just talked to Jonathan Bonner last week, and the one he's running against, who's a Democrat, hasn't held a town hall since 2009.
Was it 9 or 5?
2009. He's been in office since 2005.
Yeah,
these people have had their time to make a difference, and they didn't do it. So now it's time to vote like you mean it, like your future depends on it.
Because it does.
And do something different.
It does. And my message to all Democrats out there is, please don't run just as a protest vote. Mm-hmm. You've got to run on your record. And even if your record maybe isn't as extensive as mine, that's okay. Because I know they've done great things. There are great Democrats everywhere. So don't run only as a protest vote. You have got to give something. So when that person in little tiny rural Texas says, "Why should I vote for anyone?" they can look at you and they can say, "I believe in him." Mm-hmm. That's what we have to run on.
Yep. We have to, especially when Democrats don't typically show up to the primaries. Republicans, they vote every time, no matter how upset they are, no matter who has the House, the Senate, who's the president, they vote every time. And we can't get ourselves into that mindset. And if anything, right now, we're again, shaking people awake, saying, this is the time. You have to show up and vote and know who you're voting for. Please.
Yeah. Well, I also tell folks all the time, the number one question I get is what can I do? What can I do? So you have to start with this. Start with something free and easy. Never once will I ask a first-time person to go knock on doors. No. I say, do something free and easy. If the only thing you can do is share a Facebook post, that's amazing. Thank you. I will take it. It's free. Costs you 20 seconds and you're done. And you know something? That's a great start. And I'm grateful for every single person who takes that first step. Because once you take the first step, oh man, now you're energized, right? Now you got something there. And you're like, oh, maybe I can actually call my Congress. Oh, let me call. Now, listen, for some of us introverts, calls aren't easy, right? I'm not out here looking to call a million people on the telephone. But that's the next one, right? I can call, I can write, I can send them an email, right, on their website. Once you do that, oh, now I got something.
Yeah.
Now I might go to a protest. Oh, now we're cooking. Now I might do a little donation. Now I might go knocking on doors. Now I might do phone calls. Now I might become an activist. I might become a precinct chair. I might join the party. I might host a community social. But remember, that all starts with that first step. And for all those out there who have not taken that step, do something free and easy. That's your first thing. That's all we ask.
Free and easy.
Try it. See what it's like. I guarantee you'll feel something.
Yes.
You'll get inspired.
All right. Well, I love that. I think I'm going to like this. So this is turning to be one of my favorite questions because everyone has a very different good answer. If you're running for president, who would your VP be?
Love it. Love this. I hope this isn't too obvious, but I think myself and Pete Buttigieg would be a great team because it's fire and ice. Like, oh man, I bring the fire, right? Let me at it. But man, Pete Buttigieg, there's just ice in that guy's veins.
Yeah.
He is cool as a cucumber. Now, sometimes, and I'm blown away at how smart he is, right? Talk about a guy who understands life, right? I'm not talking policy. I don't care about laws. I don't care. He understands life.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing thing. Now, but he has like ice in his veins. Sometimes I want to shake him. And I want to be like, man, Pete, you need to get mad. You need to start getting mad at someone. So I think we would be a great team, like fire and ice here. Me and Pete Buttigieg. I think he's amazing. I also give a ton of credit to Liz Warren. I think she is a brilliant human being that has fought for the consumer, fought for the working class. I think she gets crap because she's a woman. She gets crap because she's in Massachusetts. She's a bleed blue liberal, and she gets crap for
My
that.
lady.
Yeah, right. Yeah, look what she's doing.
And she gets it in Massachusetts. I grew up in Massachusetts, and people give her crap all the time in Massachusetts. Yeah. But
I think she's brilliant. So I would say those two. I look up to as people that I can. In an ideal world, I would have the best qualities, of how smart they are and how passionate they are. And then what you can get from William Marks here is a little fire and I'm coming at you. No one's going to intimidate me. No one's going to
go crazy.
And we need that.
We need like you, Bernard, all the fire.
Oh no, here's William again.
We need a little bit of combat veteran in Congress. Who are you going to choose? A combat veteran or a car dealer? You tell me.
Yeah, based on all of the grassroots candidates we know running for Congress, if all of you get in, it's going to be crazy at the
they're going to
Capitol.
hate to see all you guys coming.
Oh no. Hate to see you guys walk into the chamber.
Your interesting thing though, so interesting, you'd think that would be so appealing to the right. That should be so appealing to a Republican to see a person who has dedicated their career to this country. I had people enemies flying over me, right? In hostile waters to serve this country. You'd think that would be appealing.
It's not appealing because what you did is really good and they don't want you in there. No, he's done too much good things. He can't be in here. An entertainer. He's going to see all the bad things we do. But last and final question we always ask each person, because I'm sure your constituents want to know what you love about the state you live in. So, what are some of your favorite things about Texas? The reasons you love
Yes,
Texas?
the Lone Star State. Oh wow, man, Texas. So first is if you haven't been to Texas, right? It is the place to come to. That is, it's like the best of America. Imagine the best of America, right? All within this one state, right? You can be at the beach. You can watch NASA do their amazing work, and you go a couple hours, and you're in a beautiful San Antonio and Houston, right? Bustling metropolises of cities. And then you go to Austin, and you see the weirdos and the Austin city limits, and that's a great too, right? We love that. And then we've got the Texas Longhorns down there, and then you go a couple hours from that, and you're in Dallas Fort Worth, right? And that's just a small subsection of the state that has such an amazing culture, right? If I wish for every American to just imagine this circle that has the best of America all in it, and all these amazing, fun, interesting things, right? And I wish for every American to visit Texas and to kind of see our cowboy way of life. And I think it's amazing, and I think we're on the right track. And I think for many years, remember, we were a Democratic state. Remember that, right? We voted overwhelmingly, right, for JFK, LBJ. Now when Nixon, right, things started going downhill, right, with Nixon.
Yep.
But even after that, right, we had a Democratic governor at one point, Ann Richards, right? We have heritage. We have roots as a democratic state. And we can get back to that, right? Texas can get back to that if Democrats will pledge to protect the Texan way of life while also upholding American values. Those two things are easily come together. But what Republicans have said, you can't be a Democrat and a Texan at the same time. They have somehow convinced millions of Texans that's true. I am here to tell everyone that's not true. You can be a Texan. You can be an all-American, uphold the Constitution while protecting the Texan way of life. Those things are not mutually exclusive. They are actually things that can happen. I am here running on that pledge, right? That I will protect this way of life and uphold the American values. And that's something you can roll into one person, right? Here I am.
I love that. And
Right
you
there.
are correct. Texas is like everything in one. You could just drive and have a completely different version of Texas everywhere you go. And I don't really know of any other states where it's like that.
Yeah.
Truly.
I'll get there one day.
It's a great place. I do love Texas. So
Well, you have an open invitation. Come hang out with me in
and
Arlington.
Caress,
threaten me with a good time.
we have people there. We gotta go see. We gotta see our Caress.
Yeah.
So we have to get out there.
Yep. So this was our interview with William Marks, who is running for the House in Texas, District 25. We will be putting this on YouTube, Spotify, Substack. William, please tell them where they can find you.
Yeah,
do all your shameless plugs, all the stuff.
Shameless plug. I love it. Folks, it's so easy. WilliamMarks.com. WilliamMarks.com. From there, every social media is right there. Pick and choose. I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the whole deal. So it's usually Marks for Congress, but go to WilliamMarks.com and you'll find everything right there.
I love it.
Awesome.
Great.
That is this week's episode of
Thank
Chat
you for
GRC.
joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, and we will see you guys next week.
Next week.
Bye.
Bye.